Hello, and welcome to the March 29th edition of Unity Church on the Mountain from my home. It's certainly a pleasure to be able to reach out to you over the internet so that we can share in this message together. Now let us affirm together our opening statement. There is only one presence and one power in my life and the universe, God. And I've lit a Christ candle right here. It may be difficult to see the flame burning because of the wonderful sunlight that's coming in through the window. But I assure you, just like the Christ presence is always within us, that candle has a flame burning. The Christ presence is that perfect potential, the image of God that has been with us since creation and will always be with us. There is nowhere we can go and no place we can be where we don't have that Christ presence within us. Let us take a moment now and just pause together. Let us go in prayer. Take a few deep breaths. Not an overexertion, just a nice, deep, calming breath in. Hold it for a short time and release. And as we resume our normal breathing, let us continue to relax our body. Secure in our seat, feeling where our body touches the chair, aware of any sounds that might be around us, whether it's the movement of a cat or the soft whine of a dog. Just being aware of the sound without giving it our attention. Let your attention focus on your breathing. Just a natural rhythm as the breath goes in and out. And we move a little deeper. And as our body relaxes, our mind becomes still. We become more aware of inner things. As we watch thoughts come, without following them, we can watch them go. No attachment to them. Just an awareness. Emotions, just be with that emotion and allow it to run its course without being attached to it. Together, let us picture our bodies surrounded by a cloud of light, a soft and soothing color, a soft and soothing light. As it touches our skin, it is comforting. We feel secure, bathed in the light of divine life and light. And now just allow it to begin to move through the bottoms of your feet. It feels good. It feels warm, soothing. And as it begins to move in your body, it touches each cell with rejuvenating life, alivening, quickening the cells of your body, and activating the power of elimination so that anything that it encounters as it moves through the body is washed away and made clean. As the light moves through our bodies, it washes away anything that is not a part of our perfect and harmonious being, leaving behind our wholeness. As it rejuvenates each cell, it moves up through our legs, up through our body, our torso, our chest. Just relaxing and allowing the cloud to do its job as it washes us clean with that rejuvenating life and light. Out our hands, up the neck, our face, through our head, and out the crown at the very top. And as the cloud of light merges back into the universe, let us radiate it out so that the cloud of light begins to expand, moving much further away from our body, touching others who may not even be within our sight, encompassing our neighborhood, our larger community, growing and growing, growing to encompass this whole world with rejuvenating life, it is the love that connects us together as one, the love that pulls us together with its magnetism. And now, begin to calm your mind a little deeper, a little closer to that secret and silent place within us. That still and calm place that is the silence. And together, we awaken our consciousness in gratitude. Grateful not for any one thing, only grateful. Feeling that warmth of gratitude, we say thank you. and so it is. Amen. The scripture today comes from the Gospel of Mark, chapter 14, and starts at verse 22. While they were eating, Jesus took bread and blessed it, and he broke it and gave it to them, and he said to them, "Take it, this is my body." And he took the cup and gave thanks, and he blessed it, and he gave it to them, and they all drank of it. And he said to them, "This is my blood of the new covenant, which is shed for the sake of many. Truly I say to you, I shall not drink again of the fruit of the vine until that day in which I drink it new in the kingdom of God." And they offered praise and went out to the Mount of Olives. That reading is from the Gospel translated by George Lomsa from the Aramaic. Today I would like to speak with you about communion. Today is the fifth Sacred Sunday. The fifth Sunday of the month at Unity Church on the Mountain is Sacred Sunday. And on this Sacred Sunday, we would share communion, the bread and the wine. I've titled this talk, Communion and Unity. And here I want to present the unity teachings about communion. So if it pleases you, just take right now all of your thoughts about communion and everything you've ever learned about communion and just set them aside. Just temporarily put them out of your mind, leaving the glass partially empty so that we have room to bring in new information and digest it, activating our power of discrimination and discernment so that we can see if it rings true for us as an individual. When I look up communion in the Merriam-Webster's dictionary, it's very simple. It means sharing. So communion is sharing. And it's very similar, this process of communion, to what I've called prayer. And prayer where I just sit and look at God, and God sits and looks at me. We share our being. We share our consciousness. And in the silence, we become the one that we truly are. I should probably say more accurately that we become aware of the one that we truly are. Because there has never been a separation. We've only seemed to be separated from our limited point of view. So communion is reminding ourselves that we are not separate, that we are one, indeed, always, and have always been one. And on another level, communion is also a sharing within our community. Sharing with those around us. Not only with our gifts, but with our love energy. And I don't mean romantic love, though that certainly is a type of love. No, I mean that big love with capital B and a capital L. Big love. Unconditional love. A magnetism that binds us together. It comes from the heart. And it comes through us from Spirit. It is an endless resource. So, reach out to someone who maybe you haven't seen lately because of this quarantine. Give them a call. Just say hello. I've been thinking about you. And I guarantee it will touch somebody's heart. Love knows no bounds. The distance between us, whether it's 6 feet, 6 miles, or 600 miles, it doesn't matter. So breathing into this moment, let us look at what happens when we go into that stillness, that sharing that we have with Spirit. I cannot know what happens in your experience, but I will do the best I can to relate some of my experience with this. Throughout my life, I've been able to have a connection or feel that connection that I have with Spirit. And accept that guidance. And what I've discovered is sometimes that guidance that's given in that secret place needs to stay secret. And what do I mean by that? I mean that it's just between Spirit and myself. I have discovered that sometimes when I give voice to that guidance, it somehow lessens the effect. I have an example. Many years ago, in fact in August, 20 years ago, I quit smoking cigarettes. But before that, I had quit smoking cigarettes several times. And before I first quit, which that first time when I quit was for about a year, I had quit at least a dozen times. And the situation was very much the same each time. I would announce that I was quitting cigarettes, and inevitably I would end up buying another pack. Usually I borrowed one from a friend, and then feeling like I shouldn't have been borrowing, I would buy my pack. But the one common factor was that I would announce that I was quitting. I successfully quit for about 2 years. This was around 1990. Maybe it was 1989. I was singing in a rock and roll band, and my throat just would not allow me to practice 3 times a week for 4 hours, singing and smoking a pack or more a day. So it was a practical decision. And it was something that I loved, which was singing. So I was able to quit. And I just put them down. I don't remember ever telling anyone that I was quitting. I just stopped doing it. I had been reading Carlos Castaneda at the time, and he had this idea of not doing. What a peculiar thing. We normally think of doing this, doing that. Even quitting was a doing. But no, quitting is not a doing. Quitting is a not doing. But the point is, I didn't tell anyone. One day I was playing pool and having a beer, and I had a cigarette. The next day I bought a pack, and I was back on the cigarette train. "20 years ago, August is actually the anniversary day, I laid down cigarettes. I didn't tell anybody I was going to do it. And I carried a pack of cigarettes in my breast pocket for 2 weeks and didn't smoke any. Finally, I gave the pack away. And though I still think about cigarettes, I haven't had one since. So sometimes it's necessary to keep things that are discussed in this sharing with Spirit to yourself until it's the right time to talk about them. When we talk about communion, we normally talk about the bread and the wine. I have them sitting here ready. But let's first talk about what is at the heart of communion, the same thing that is at the heart of each of us. We symbolize it by the Christ candle, and that is the Christ. And what is this that we call the Christ? Unity teaches everything is divine mind, the ideas of divine mind, and their expressions. Everything in the universe, divine mind, ideas in divine mind, and their expressions. At the beginning of creation, we were all created in the image, that perfect image of our potential perfection. And that is what we call the Christ. In the beginning was the Word, the Logos. That's the Greek word. It's the vibration. Remember in Genesis, God said, "Let there be light." There was a vibration, information, and energy. And if we really think about it, what else is there? Information and energy. This chair arm, as real, as solid, as material as it seems. After all, it holds my body up, this chair. But if we really look close at it, it's just energy and information. And that brings us to the next part of communion, the body. The body is symbolized by the bread. Jesus broke bread with the disciples. He said, "Take this bread and eat. It is my body that I share with you. The body that Christ, and remember, Christ is not a man. Christ, what is Christ? That idea, that perfect idea that is within all of us. Jesus manifested that perfect Christ consciousness and was able to realize it in completion. But we all have that potential. Sharing the body is a symbol of that divine, that spirit substance that we all share in. Spirit substance. Remember I said that we are all made up of information and energy. Everything in the universe is sort of like a hologram, in that there is within each small place a perfect representation of the whole. So within each of us is that perfect representation of each of us, the image of God, the Christ. The substance is that energy and information from which we all come. The other part of the communion is the wine. The wine is a symbol of life. Jesus said, "Take, drink. This is the blood of life." We all share in that same life. We all share in that same life. And taking that sip of the wine is a symbol of the life that we all share. And isn't that beautiful? I feel it here. I feel that heart field radiating. I feel you wherever you're sitting. And I can feel your heart field radiating back to me. It is good. It all goes back to John 1. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God, and the Word was with God. This song is called The Gospel of One Word. It's a song I wrote that was inspired by the Gospel of John, chapter 1, verses 1 through 10. beginning was the Word. And now let us affirm our prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. I am the light. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love. The power of God protects us. I am the power. The presence of God watches over us. I am the presence. Wherever I am, God is, and all is well.